What if I told you that this common experience we call normal aging is actually abnormal aging? What if science is now showing us that we have far more control over how we age than we ever imagined? We're standing at a truly exciting moment in history, where groundbreaking discoveries are giving us the tools to not just slow down aging, but even to reverse aspects of it, allowing our years of good health, what we call our health span, to truly match our lifespan. Let's unpack what both slowing aging and reversing aging really mean. When we talk about slowing aging, we're primarily focused on extending your health span. Think of your health span as the period of your life where you're vibrant, energetic, and able to function and feel alive. Sadly, for many folks, this healthy period starts to decline 20 or 30 years before they pass away, leading to those unhappy later years we're all too familiar with. The good news is that we have an enormous potential to control our health span and live a long, vibrant life, staying active and feeling great until the very end. This comes from understanding that the chronic diseases we often see as separate, like heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and Alzheimer's, are largely downstream consequences of fundamental imbalances in our biology. There's what some call a unified theory of aging that points to common underlying factors. Here's how we can actively work to slow down aging. 1. Addressing the root causes. 90% of our health status is influenced by our exposome. That's all the things our genes are exposed to throughout our lives. This includes what we eat, how much we exercise, the quality of our sleep, our relationships, and even our thoughts and feelings. These are things we have enormous control over. Diet. Our modern diet, full of sugar, starch, and processed foods, is a major driver of chronic disease and inflammation. By focusing on a plant-rich diet with good quality fats, nuts, seeds, and high-quality protein, what's been called a pagan diet, we can dramatically reduce inflammation and balance blood sugar. It's about thinking of food as medicine. Exercise. Moving our bodies has enormous benefits for our health. Regular exercise, especially strength training and high-intensity interval training, helps build muscle, improves energy production in our cells, mitochondrial function, and keeps our blood vessels healthy. Dr. Peter Attia considers exercise the most potent longevity drug in our arsenal for both lifespan and health span. Sleep and stress management. Poor sleep and chronic stress drive up inflammation, which, as we've seen, is a central feature of aging. Practicing stress reduction techniques like meditation, yoga, or spending time in nature can turn on anti-inflammatory genes. Prioritizing self-care and balancing rest with activity are crucial. Relationships and purpose. Believe it or not, the quality of our relationships, our community, and even our sense of meaning and purpose play an enormous role in our health and longevity. Social isolation, for example, is a bigger risk factor for death than diet or smoking. Avoiding toxins. Our environment is full of chemicals and metals that can damage our DNA and drive inflammation. While we can't avoid all toxins, reducing exposure and supporting our body's natural detoxification systems is important. 2. Understanding the hallmarks of aging. Scientists have identified about 10 hallmarks, or fundamental problems that occur in our biology as we age. These are areas like DNA damage, shortening telomeres, mitochondrial dysfunction, our cellular energy factories, and the accumulation of senescent, or zombie cells. By focusing on these underlying issues, we can prevent, treat, and even reverse most age-related diseases without having to treat each disease separately. Hormesis. This is a fascinating concept, my friends. It means that small, controlled stresses on our bodies, like exercise, periods of not eating, fasting, or exposure to hot and cold temperatures, saunas and cold plunges, can actually make us stronger. Think of a wild strawberry that's had to struggle a bit to grow. It's often bursting with more flavor and protective compounds than a pampered one. These little stresses activate our body's built-in defenses, improving our resilience and longevity. Nutrient-sensing pathways. Our bodies have incredible systems that sense the nutrients we eat, like insulin signaling, mTOR, AMPK, and sirtuins. These are like master switches that tell our cells whether to focus on growth when food is plentiful or repair and conservation when nutrients are scarcer. Activating these pathways through diet, exercise, and hormesis is key to slowing aging. 3. Specific molecules and therapies for slowing. Sirtuins and AD+. These are key players in longevity. Sirtuins are a family of genes, or longevity genes, as Dr. David Sinclair calls them, that protect us from disease and deterioration. They need a molecule called NAD+ to function properly. Unfortunately, NAD+ levels decline as we age. Research, pioneered in part by Dr. David Sinclair, has explored ways to boost NAD+ levels through supplements like NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide, and NR, nicotinamide riboside. Dr. David Sinclair personally endorses using NAD+ precursors, sharing an anecdotal story about how they gave older mice so much energy they broke the treadmill. He also indicates he uses NAD+ himself. Metformin. This common diabetes drug has caught the attention of aging researchers because it activates AMPK, one of those key nutrient-sensing pathways, and has shown promise in preventing age-related diseases in animal models. Rapamycin, another compound that works by inhibiting mTOR, which is important for cellular recycling and repair, autophagy. Early studies in mice have shown it can extend lifespan and even improve cardiac function in older animals. Reversing aging, turning back your biological clock. Now, the idea of reversing aging might sound like something out of a science fiction movie, like the mythical Tithonus, who got eternal life but forgot to ask for eternal youth. But groundbreaking science is suggesting that we can, in fact, turn back our biological clock. Here's the fascinating science behind this more audacious goal. 1. Biological versus chronological age. Your chronological age is simply how many years you've lived. Your biological age, however, is a measure of the actual health and functionality of your cells and organs. It's a real-time snapshot of how fast you're truly aging. For example, Dr. David Sinclair, at 60 years old, has measured his telomeres, protective caps on our chromosomes, and found his biological age to be 39. Mark Hyman, at 63, states his biological age is 43. This isn't just about feeling younger, it's about measurable biological changes. The Horvath clock. This is a sophisticated way to measure your biological age by looking at DNA methylation, which are chemical tags on your genes that determine which ones are turned on or off. These tags change throughout your life based on your lifestyle and environment, influencing your biological age. What's amazing is that even simple diet and lifestyle changes have been shown to reverse biological age, as measured by DNA methylation, by a few years in just a couple of months. 2. The information theory of aging. Dr. David Sinclair proposes a unified theory that aging is fundamentally a loss of information in our cells. Think of your DNA as a perfect digital blueprint, like a pristine DVD. As we live, environmental factors, stress, and even normal biological processes can cause scratches on this DVD, not changes to the underlying genetic code, the digital information, but damage to the epigenome, which controls how those genes are read, the analog information. This epigenetic noise causes cells to lose their identity and malfunction, leading to the symptoms of aging. Dr. David Sinclair believes that if we can polish away these scratches and restore the original information, we can reverse aging. 3. Cellular reprogramming. This is where the idea of Benjamin Button comes in. Scientists have discovered Yamanaka factors, named after Nobel Prize winner Shinya Yamanaka, which can essentially reset adult cells back to an embryonic, youthful state. Imagine scraping a few skin cells and literally reprogramming them to become younger cells that could then form a new pancreas or heart or brain. This technology is still in its early stages for humans, but in animal models, it's already reversing aging and repairing organs. For instance, Dr. David Sinclair's lab has shown they can regrow optic nerves and restore eyesight in old mice using these reprogramming factors. 4. Regenerative medicine and advanced therapies. Stem cells and exosomes. Our bodies naturally have stem cells that help us heal and repair. However, as we age, their function declines. Scientists are now looking at ways to activate our own stem cells through diet, exercise, and stress reduction. There are also exciting therapies emerging like exosomes, which are like tiny goodie bags released by stem cells containing healing factors. These can be used to promote systemic repair and rejuvenation. Plasma exchange, a fascinating recent study showed that simply cleaning out harmful factors in old blood using a process called plasmapheresis was enough to rejuvenate old mice, improving muscle repair, reducing liver fat, and increasing the formation of new memory cells in the brain. While more research is needed for humans, this could be a powerful tool. The big picture, a shift in how we view health. The difference between slowing and reversing aging is really about how aggressively we can tackle the process. Slowing aging is about putting the brakes on the decline, delaying the onset of diseases, and maintaining high function for longer. Reversing aging is about turning the clock back, restoring youthful vitality at a cellular level. This exciting shift in thinking represents a move from what some call Medicine 2.0 to Medicine 3.0. Medicine 2.0 focuses largely on treating diseases after they appear, like patching up a car after an accident. It's about managing symptoms and reacting to illness. Medicine 3.0, on the other hand, is about being proactive. It seeks to prevent diseases from ever appearing in the first place by addressing the underlying processes of aging. It means delaying the onset of heart attacks, diverting the path to Alzheimer's, and preventing tumors from forming. For too long, aging has been viewed as an inevitable part of life, almost like the changing seasons. This has had profound implications, even affecting how medical research is funded. In most nations, aging isn't even officially classified as a disease. This means that research funds often go to fight specific diseases rather than the underlying process of aging that contributes to nearly all of them. However, there's a strong argument being made by researchers like Dr. David Sinclair that aging is a disease, the mother of all diseases. If it were classified as such, it could unlock significant research funding and revolutionize how we approach health. My friends, the future of healthy aging is not just about extending years, but enriching them. It's about having the energy to play with your great-grandchildren, to pursue passions, travel, or continue meaningful work well into your later years. While immortality isn't the goal, the science is clear. Prolonged, healthier human lifespans are not only possible, but for many researchers, inevitable. You don't have to wait for the future. Many of the most powerful strategies to slow and even begin to reverse your biological clock are available right now through thoughtful diet, regular exercise, quality sleep, managing stress, and nurturing your connections with others. It truly is never too late to start.